Hey, hey, hey. Happy Tuesday. Come on in. Pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, 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 gang, and welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host, here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch, brought to you by, incredibly enough, thegaminggang.com, of which I happen to be the founder and editor-in-chief. So welcome aboard. Tonight is Tuesday, February 28th, 2023. This is live stream 892. I'm not a crook. So welcome aboard. If this is your first time joining me, let me point out, super casual around here. Certainly not taking part in rocket surgery by any stretch of the imagination. Just hanging out, talking about the latest in tabletop gaming news. And normally we'll take a first look at a tabletop game. Every once in a while I'll do a live review. But for the most part, usually it's a first look. And that will be the case tonight, as we are going to dive on in and do a page through of Pathfinder Treasure Vault from Paizo Inc. Yes, this is the latest of the supplements, the source books, I guess we will say, for Pathfinder 2nd Edition. We are going to be diving on in and taking a peek in just a bit. So if you aren't familiar with the show, let me point out, we do tackle the tabletop gaming news first. So if you are tuning in because you want to get a first look at the Treasure Vault, well, we'll get there. Be patient. Put your feet up. Relax. Enjoy yourself. Hopefully you're a subscriber, because then you'll have something to do while you wait for the first look. But if you are watching this stream 30 minutes or more after it ends, there will be timestamps. So if you are impatient and you just gotta get to that first look, you'll be able to jump past the tabletop gaming news. Now, those timestamps are located in the show notes, or depending on whatever device you happen to be using to watch this, those timestamps might be right there in the timeline, right under your nose. So keep that in mind. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more that you won't find here on the YouTube channel. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. And of course, I mentioned, if you are a subscriber tuning in live, waiting for that first look, there is chat available. That's right. It is a live stream, so there is chat. It's not on screen. It's one of the ways that I keep the more unusual commenters at bay. And you do have to be a subscriber for at least 48 hours to take part in chat. Yet another way I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. But if you want to say howdy, maybe you've got a question, a comment, maybe there's something about Pathfinder Treasure Vault you want a closer look at, by all means, chime in. I will do my best to respond. So first out the gate tonight in chat is the Motor City Madman. That's right. The Madman is with us. He is one of our chat moderators, as is Flaming Heron over in Australia. He is tuning in with us as well. He is, as I mentioned, also a chat moderator. John Mescola is with us. So is Chuck Terrell and Kathy Evans, Doug Roberts is stopping by. It's been a while since we've seen Doug. And Vaughn Moore is hanging in chat as well. So we've got chat off and running right off the bat. So let's jump on into the tabletop gaming news of the day. Currently up for crowdfunding for newcomers Dinky Games is The Season. Love and drama in the Regency era. Here's the scoop. It is a truth universally acknowledged that a single man in possession of a good fortune must be in want of a wife. So said Jane Austen. Live the life of a debutante during the Regency era in this dramatic historical board game. The season aims to bring the ups and downs of bachelorette life of Regency England to your home. As the season begins, indulgent suppers at grand mansions, exclusive private parties with titillating entertainment, and sumptuous balls bathed in glittering candlelight await you. You may visit town, enhance your accomplishments, purchase luxurious gowns, or gamble with the girls, but make sure you keep your reputation in mind. For the next few months, you have 2 goals. Secure yourself a preferably handsome and also preferably wealthy husband, and elevate your family's social standing with your charm, wit, and talent. The season is played in rounds over the course, of 4 quarters. Each quarter begins with 4 rounds, followed by a ball. The end of the 4th ball marks the end of the game. Each round consists of an action phase, followed immediately by a special event phase. At the beginning of each quarter, an invitation is sent out to the debutantes with the promise of supper, dancing, and a chance to meet some of London's most eligible suitors. Each ball has a theme chosen by the elegant hosts. If you wear a dress and or accessory that matches the theme of the ball, you will receive high praise from the hosts and earn yourself additional reputation points. There is a short Kickstarter video. Do have to mention, I am going to talk over it because, obviously enough, when I uploaded it to YouTube, they were like, oh, no, copyright violation there, Jeff. So we won't be including the music. But we will take a peek at the video because the video is going to provide us with quite a few more images of this game. So I've got to say, this is pretty interesting, and I would think those people out there who are fans of Regency era literature, such as the aforementioned Jane Austen, or Regency era television shows like, say, Bridgerton, or films like Pride and Prejudice, this is going to be something that they would be interested in checking out. So this is a new company. This is the first project they have kickstarted. They have a couple of games on their website that they are looking to produce, this being the first. So, once again, this looks pretty interesting. The artwork looks pretty nice. I like the art style for it. That looks pretty sharp. There are a few things that I did notice with the Kickstarter project that kind of struck me as making this pretty obvious that it's from a new game company. So this is not funded yet. It is hovering, I believe, right around 35%, but there's still plenty of time. So you can look to reserve a copy of this core game as well as any stretch goals, which might end up unlocking, for a $45 pledge through March 18th. There is also a Jane Austen expansion that's available that will include characters from her novels. So that is an additional add-on if you would like. Expected delivery, if this does fund, is going to be this July. So a pretty quick turnaround with that. So that is The Season from Dinky Games. So let's talk about another Kickstarter. Yes, we're going back to back with the Kickstarters. Flying Pig Games and my pal Mark H. Walker have launched a new Kickstarter for 85 Afghanistan Graveyard of Empires. Here's the latest. 85 Graveyard of Empires is the second game in the Squad Battles series. Building on the mechanics introduced in 65 Squad Battles in the jungles of Vietnam, Graveyard of Empires, GOE, features squad-level battles between the Afghan Mujahideen. I always screw that up. And I still don't think I've pronounced it exactly correctly there. And the Soviet Red Army, I can pronounce that easily enough, in a card-driven hex encounter game. GOE introduces card-activated events, immersive helicopter rules, more tactical decisions, new powers and abilities, and of course, beautiful counter and game board art. The counters are 1 inch or larger for the vehicles, and the game board hexes are huge. Included are counters for the Mujahideen RPG and RPD teams, rifle squads and heroes, as well as captured T-55 and BMP armored fighting vehicles. The Soviets respond with Spetsnaz, line rifle squads, heroes, Hind-24 attack helicopters, and several types of armored fighting vehicles, such as the T-55, T-62 tanks, BMPs, BTRs, and more. There is a short Kickstarter video that I can share with you. I can share the sound. Already double-checked that. So let's kick back and take a peek.
The Soviets invaded Afghanistan in 1979. It was an incursion that would last 10 bloody years and end in the defeat and withdrawal of all Soviet forces. 85 Graveyard of Empires. A squad battles game and the successor to 65 squad battles in the jungles of Vietnam, depicts exciting squad-level battles between bands of Afghan Mujahideen and companies of Soviet soldiers. The game features immersive, card-driven play that stresses the fog of war. You never know what maneuver your opponent will attempt. Numerous exciting scenarios featuring historic battles. Squad-level units depicting Mujahideen infantry, Soviet line troops and Spetsnaz, as well as individual T-55 62 tanks, BMPs, Hind helicopters, and more. 85 Graveyard of Empires is a highly tactical game capturing the up-close and personal fighting in a war neither the Soviet soldiers nor Afghan fighters had asked for. It's a game designed by gamers, for gamers to play, by Flying Pig Games.
'85 Afghanistan Graveyard of Empires is for 2 players. I'm going to guess it's ages 18 and up, and the scenarios will probably play out in 2 to 3 hours, because that's, if I remember correctly, that's about how 65 was, so that is my ballpark guess. But this project actually launched today. It is possible you might still be able to get in for the early bird special pledge level of $80. Otherwise, you can reserve a copy for a $90 pledge through March 22nd. Pretty quick turnaround on this one. Expected delivery is this October. So I have to mention that when Mark's team reached out to me to share the news of this being on the horizon, They were actually promoting it with an early bird special where you would get a free game. But I didn't see that happen at launch. So I'm not sure what may have happened with that. But if you are looking for some very, very solid squad level tactical battles, modern era, this is probably something that you're going to want to take a peek at, because the 65 squad battles in the jungles of Vietnam, I think if I remember correctly, that is the full title that just rolls right off the tongue. Was really, really good. Flying Pig Games always has cool releases as far as the various different systems that they've got. And this is card driven to a certain extent. And if I know Mark and his team, I bet you there's like random events that take place as well in this. So we've got a few more folks strolling on into chat. We've got Roger Proudhon, Stray Kismet, Kevin R. Smith, Dante Viper Brandolini, and Zorak Zoran 1, yes, double Z1, are all with us in chat tonight. So welcome, folks. Moving on into some role-playing game news. You can currently score big savings with the bundle of holding, which features Arcana of the Ancients from Monte Cook Games. Yes, I know there was a brand new bundle of holding that launched today, but I already had this news piece ready. Anyway, here's the deets on the deal. Adventurer! This all-new Arcana of the Ancients bundle presents, you guessed it, Arcana of the Ancients, the Numenera tabletop role-playing setting from Monte Cook Games, adapted for 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons. Add mysterious technology and weird science fantasy atmosphere to your fantasy campaign. Explore incomprehensible ruins. I just cannot comprehend those ruins. And face bizarre creatures of the 9th world in search of the ancient devices called Numenera, or build your own far future campaign world from the ground up. With these hundreds of ciphers, artifacts, creatures, and locations, you can take your D&D players on adventures they've never imagined for an unbeatable bargain price. For just $17.95, you'll get all 6 titles in the Arcana collection, which have a retail value of $90, as DRM-free PDFs, including the complete Arcana of the Ancient Science Fantasy Campaign Supplement, the Beneath the Monolith Guide to the 9th World Setting, the Beasts of Flesh and Steel Bestiary, the Where the Machines Wait Mega Adventure, and the Numenera Campaign Sourcebook, Jade Colossus, Ruins of the Prior World, along with a 72-page Jade Colossus 5e conversion guide. The savings do run through March 13th, and 10% of your payment, minus gateway fees, will be donated to this offer's pandemic-related charity, Direct Relief. Sweet! This is a really nice deal because, now I remember doing a news piece for the Bestiary that came out, and I gotta say, it's probably a couple of years ago, thereabout. But just that Bestiary over on Drive-Thru RPG costs more than the entire bundle, which includes the 6 titles. And you figure this is really the whole Arcana of the Ancients line as of right now. So pretty sweet deal. Pretty sweet deal to bring I shouldn't say Necro, it's Numenera to D&D. Pretty sweet, which I find kind of interesting too, because Monte Cook worked on Dungeons and Dragons back in the day and then left Wizards of the Coast and then created Monte Cook Games, and Numenera was really their first role-playing game that they came out with. And now it kind of goes full circle. Now you can play Numenera with 5e rules. So Dante says, no one works harder than Jeff. Oh, I don't know about that. Dante says that they're experiencing some buffering of the video. Oh, looks like we are dropping some frames tonight. So hopefully, looks like we may have, looks like that may have stabilized now. Kevin says that Monty was on the 5e team for a minute there too. Yes, I remember that. I've interviewed Monte Cook, and strangely enough, he's another one of these people that I have heard through the grapevine is kind of difficult, and he was just a sweetheart. I mean, he was super nice chatting with him and that. So, you know, you never know. Sometimes it's the attitude you give people gets an attitude back as well. So on to the next news piece. The Liminal Casebook is available for the Liminal role-playing game, and here's the reveal from Modiphius Entertainment. A werewolf pack seeking new hunting grounds, a cursed legacy, a lost fairy artifact, the grisly death of an official with eyes completely removed, a case that baffles even P Division that perhaps the player characters can solve. Fairy realms intruded on the mortal world. The sister sword of Excalibur that still exists. Didn't know Excalibur had a sister sword. And can perhaps be found. All these mysteries and more can be found in the Liminal Casebook, a 205-page PDF collection of 14 adventures for the Liminal role-playing game, including 5 completely new scenarios and brand new art throughout. Designed for Liminal, but could be used for any modern supernatural game in Britain, featuring vampires, the Fae, ghosts, werewolves, rogue magicians, and more. You mean like Rivers of London? Dun, dun, dun. Scenarios can be played individually, but notes are provided on combining these scenarios into a series. 2 scenarios are designed to work with the Pax Londinium supplement by author Neil Gow. Includes all brand new art by Jason Benke and Paul Tomes, and also includes the previously released cases Prodigal Son, The Haunting House, Ghosts of Glencoe, The Repairer of Reputations, Shadow to the Light, Beneath the Stones, The Oak and the Amulet, One Bogart's Rubbish, and The Eyes Have It. And 5 brand new cases, Bad Blood, Mother Said I Never Should, The Crown of Winter, The Reed Legacy, and The Giant of Horkham. This 204-page PDF of the Liminal Casebook is available right now over at Drive-Thru RPG for $15. Nice. Good to see Liminal getting some more support. Definitely like to see that, because I don't feel that this is one of Modiphius Entertainment's most popular role-playing games, although it is relatively new. It has come out probably within the last, I'd say, 18 months or so, or at least that's probably when I shared some news about it. But pretty cool. You got 14 cases for the Liminal role-playing game, and pretty decent price as well. My final news piece, now available in PDF, is Warhammer 40k Wrath and Glory Threat Assessment Xenos. It's another one that just rolls right off the tongue. Here's the latest from Cubicle 7 Entertainment. Threat Assessment Xenos contains a mass of new alien threats to challenge agents of any tier, and is the perfect companion to any Warhammer 40k Wrath and Glory campaign. As well as massively expanding the Xenos factions, found in the Wrath and Glory core rulebook. This book explores newcomers to the Gilead system, including the enigmatic Tau, the voracious Kroot, I am Kroot, and the slowly stirring Necrons, whose claim to the system may be older than the Imperium itself. Threat Assessment Xenos is the first in a collection of bestiaries for Wrath and Glory, containing a wealth of new and exciting GM information and deadly enemies. This book includes new rules for lethal battle zone hazards to surprise your agents, profiles for the ancient Eldari, including Ashuriani, Harlequins, Corsairs, and Drukhari. Enough rampaging orcs to start a war! The Waking Necrons, including powerful units such as Cryptex and Flayed Ones. A stranded Tau strike force of fire warriors, drones, crisis suits, and more. A full Kroot mercenary company and their attendant beasts. Insidious hybrids of the Gene Stealer cults, paving the way for their true masters to descend from the stars. Threat Assessment Xenos is an essential purchase for the Wrath and Glory line, massively expanding a GM's arsenal of threats with carefully crafted stat blocks for a host of factions. The 190-page Wrath and Glory Threat Assessment Xenos is available at, you guessed it, Drive-Thru RPG for $24.99. Nice to see more supplements arrive for Warhammer 40k Wrath and Glory, because we already know Cubicle 7 is working on another Warhammer 40k role-playing game. And if you're familiar with Wrath and Glory, you know that Cubicle 7 kind of inherited this game. It was not designed in-house. They did clean this up quite a lot from the edition that came out from the fine folks over at Ulysses. But this isn't really their home system. So cool to see this, and gotta be honest, this is just loaded with all the major baddies. Well, okay, so outside of like Chaos and Chaos Marines, it's got a lot in there, and it's 190 pages. So definitely something to take a peek at. Maybe we'll get to take a look at this when it comes out in hardcover. I don't know. I say it all the time. Things are kind of up in the air with Cubicle 7 Entertainment and that. I don't know. So we shall find out. All right, that is it for the tabletop gaming news tonight. Of course, I was just talking about Drive-Thru RPG. So don't forget, the Gaming Gang, thus the Dispatch, is affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So if you are going to visit, say, Drive-Thru RPG or Dungeon Masters Guild or Storyteller's Vault, what have you, please stop by thegaminggang.com. First, click on one of our banner ads. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, I get a small portion of that sale. And all those nickels, dimes, and quarters really do add up and help keep thegaminggang.com around. So I know people from time to time will ask, well, Jeff, the banners tend to almost always be Drive-Thru RPG, but I'm going to Dungeon Masters Guild. Easy enough. Just visit thegaminggang.com, click on a Drive-Thru RPG banner, go to Drive-Thru RPG, look to the lower left. You'll see all the One Bookshelf sites. Click there to whatever site you're heading to, and it will still retain our affiliate code. So keep that in mind. So it seems like Fleming Heron is having a bit of a typing issue in chat tonight. So I guess things are getting fired up in chat. I don't know. Too busy reading news pieces. So, can't tell you what's going on. Maybe there's a big fight breaking out. I have no idea. All right, so we are going to be diving on into Pathfinder Treasure Vault in just a bit. But before we do, I did want to mention that I finally had an opportunity to check out Legend of Vox, is it Machina? Because I know it's not Machina, like, what is it? Deus Ex Machina? So it's not that, it's Machina, I think, is how they pronounce it. Regardless, so I had a chance to watch the first season. I just finished watching it last night. I'll probably move on to the second season, I don't know, maybe tonight, tomorrow night. And I thought it was all right. I was like, this isn't too bad. It's okay. I mean, even though it's supposed to be it's from Amazon. It's from Amazon Studios. And sometimes it feels a little too much like a Japanese anime in the way that things are sometimes presented, that there's certain like actions or like certain keys to like emotions and that in Japanese anime that kind of are used in the series, which I was kind of like, I thought this is supposed to be, Western animation, but maybe not. But I liked it. It wouldn't get me to watch Critical Role, but I mean, that's just because I don't have time to get involved in Critical Role. And the other thing that kind of took me out of the element is like kind of the modern like style, some of the wisecracks and things, just, the way they sometimes spoke, very modern, and things like that. It's kind of like, really? Flaming Aaron says, it's appealing to a certain audience. I mean, I thought it was okay. I mean, I was not expecting much, to be very honest. So Kevin says it does a great job of capturing the feel of a party of knuckleheads let loose on an epic fantasy world. Sort of, yeah. I would definitely agree with you on that. And I found some of the characters to be far more interesting than others. Like the druid character is okay, but she's too kind of whiny and too, I don't know if I could do it, that shtick got old pretty quick. So Kevin says the fact that Scalen's songs are all 80s power ballads. Actually, I thought that was kind of funny, really. But I thought some of their wisecracks were pretty good. I thought it was pretty funny. Oh, so Dante says, I like the Mickey Mouse cup. Yes. Yeah, I change cups up every once in a while. Usually I used to sit down here with one of my Hotbox pizza cups from Gen Con. Tessie Trekkie's joined us in chat. Good to see you, Tessie Trekkie. All right, so we are going to be jumping on into the first look at Pathfinder Treasure Vault. But first, I think it's time for a brief intermission. Well, then again, should have mentioned PayPal.me, huh? Oh, well, forgot. Start talking about Vox Machina. So now it's time for the brief.
It's intermission time, folks. Time out for a delicious snack in our sparkling refreshment building. Every item a fresh, appetizing taste treat.
If you like pizza made the real Italian way with bubbly cheese, tangy seasonings, pure ingredients, you'll say our pizza is the mosta. Try some now at the Refreshment Center.
It's the water that makes it good. It's the water, it's understood. You'll enjoy Olympia, sparkling, cool, and clear. You'll enjoy Olympia. It's the most refreshing beer.
One of the few places in all the world where nature provides perfect brewing water is Olympia, Washington, where the Olympia Brewing Company is located. This remarkable water, flowing cold and clear from artesian wells, has the precise character necessary to bring out the elusive flavors of the choice hops and grains. Yes, it's the water that's responsible for the consistent, light, sparkling flavor you enjoy in Olympia beer.
You'll enjoy Olympia, sparkling, cool, and clear. For refreshing satisfaction, always say Olympia beer.
Visitors are always welcome at the Olympia Brewing Company, Olympia, Washington.
Hey, the cannibals are boiling us in Wilkins coffee.
Yeah, so what?
I was beginning to think you'd never join me in a cup of Wilkins.
It's wild! It's crazy! It's silly!
Let's go on a silly safari. Lots of fun, a silly safari. Wildest game you've ever played. Silliest game that's ever been made. Trap all the animals you can see with the silly crew round the cookie nut tree.
Press the goofy bird and Charlie Chimp goes. Down rolls the cookie nut to Cockeye's nose. Up goes his tail, Geraldine swings round, and the animal trap drops to the ground.
Got one!
Roll the dice and start to play. Follow the footprints all the way through lion, gorilla, and elephant land. Lose a turn, you're in quicksand. And when your foot and footprint match, turn the cookie nut trap and see what you catch. Goofy bird, Charlie Chimp, Cockeye, Geraldine. I missed.
Take a trip on silly safari. You'll all flip for silly safari. Trap more animals and you win. The silliest game you've ever been in.
Wacky, loony, crazy, goony.
Silly safari by Topper.
Wilkins and Wonkins, no! Yep, they both bought the farm. And what was up with those kids in that toy commercial with that game? It's like, were they all coked up? It looked like they were all coked up and then being stabbed like they were in excruciating pain. It's like, what the hell? Yes. Fleming Heron says that game looked like Mousetrap or whatever. Looked like it was a far more detailed Mousetrap. Looked like a way bigger layout on that game. Kevin says Wonkins dies and so does Wilkins. Yep, they certainly did. Although, yeah, I have to laugh where it's like, oh, I was starting to think that you would never join me in a cup of Wilkins. All right, so Christian Ole, taking a stab on that pronunciation, has joined us in chat. Welcome aboard. So we are going to dive on in and take a first look at Pathfinder Treasure Vault from Paizo Inc. It's written by Michael Sayer, Mark Seifter, and Kendra Lee Speedling. This 224-page hardcover carries an MSRP of $54.99. Or why do I have a bundle of holding popping up there? Man, I don't know. I don't know. Super weird. It's supposed to be Paizo.com, folks. Anyway, you can grab the PDF for $19.99. Here I've got Treasure Vault. So let's take a look at the back here. Venture into the vault. Pathfinder Treasure Vault reveals the glittering hoard of a terrifying dragon, as presented by the creature's plucky kobold assistant. This 224-page hardcover rulebook presents a catalog of new gear from nearly every category of equipment and magic item available in the Pathfinder role-playing game, while introducing entirely new categories of items. Give your character the perfect tool for the job with signature weapons, customizable relics, and wondrous items to fit your every need while preparing for any eventuality with potions, elixirs, wands, and more. So, something I do want to mention before we jump on in, of course, the fine folks over at Paizo Inc., not Bundle of Holding, Paizo Inc., were kind enough to provide me with this review copy, but neither I nor anyone else affiliated with the Gaming Gang has received any other sort of compensation for me to share this coverage with you. And of course, these days, it's important that you know that. So we're going to jump on in. We'll mention that if you checked out the Paizo preview for this month, I did take a real quick peek inside here. So we are actually going to take a deeper dive into Treasure Vault. Of course, we are not going to look at each and every page, but I do want to give you a good feel for what's in this hardcover. So I do want to mention there were quite a few additional writers who lended some assistance to the trio of writers from the cover, and we also have quite a few different artists as well. So this is going to be broken up into armor and armaments, alchemy unleashed, momentary magic, trappings of power, secrets of crafting, which I believe introduces some new crafting rules, because I guess there are folks out there who are not big fans of the current second edition of Pathfinder's crafting. So we have some alternate rules there. We've got a Game Master's Trove, as well as treasure tables, and then we'll wrap up with the glossary and the index. So this book is presented from a point of view where this is a dragon's treasure vault. And the treasure vault is kind of curated by a group of kobolds led by Pure Purin, the kobold. And I mentioned this when I did the Paizo preview for February. I said, you know, I really like the kobold design. I like the character designs for the kobolds for Pathfinder 2nd Edition. Whenever I see these, I don't know why, but I always think of a newt. I have no idea why. But I do like the kobolds. I have seen the life-size kobolds that have been available to purchase. I want to say I think it's WizKids that makes them, and they are pretty impressive. They had a red one and a blue one, and they have a spear, got a little short spear, and they were very, very cool. I think they go for like $300 or something along those lines. All right, so we've got armor and armaments. So this is going to be broken down into armor property runes. We've got specific magic armor, shields, specific magic shields, weapons, weapon runes, and specific magic weapons. Something else I've mentioned previously is the way Pathfinder 2nd Edition is designed is so that the player characters have a lot of gear. They tend to have a lot of equipment and elixirs and potions and things along those lines as well. If you look at some of the adventures that come out for the adventure paths or even the standalone adventures, you'll find if you are comparing it to, say, 5e D&D, that there tends to be more treasure by way of items, and not just, oh, you have found 700 gold pieces. And the reason behind that is because it is designed that way for balancing. So we're going to have some artwork throughout, and I will point out that there are quite a few pages with no artwork that I had noticed when I was flipping through real quickly for the Paizo preview. But then we get pages like this, where it's kind of showing us a lot of the items. So these are specific magic armors. So we've got the wolf jaw armor, library robes, the immortal bastion, black hole armor. Cool. So then we've got specific magic shields. So let's take one of these as an example. So we've got the Starfall Shield, and that is this right here. It was almost like the moon's surface on the shield. Says this high-grade adamantine heavy rondoche bears a +3 greater striking shield boss and has dents that resemble craters on its surface. While wielding the shield, you have fire resistance 15. So you can also activate and interact frequency once per day. You stride up to 3 times. This movement doesn't trigger reactions and ignores difficult terrain. At the end of your movement, you deal 6d10 bludgeoning damage in a 10-foot emanation and 14d6 fire damage in a 40-foot emanation. Holy cow. The space where you end your movement and all adjacent spaces become difficult terrain for 1 minute, and the shield glows red hot for 10 minutes, during which it gains the effect of the greater flaming property rune. Holy cow, it's 23,000 gold pieces. All right, let's move along here. So we've got some of our weapons. There we go. So these are just weapons. These are not specific magic weapons. Yes. The pole arms. Gary Gygax would be so proud. The long hammer. I always like these. These always look so cool. I always like the hammers that have like the kind of like the spike on the back of it, on the back end of it. So these are all new weapons. Here we've got all their stats. And then we get into specific magic weapons. So as an example, let's look at the Ghast Stiletto. I almost said Ghost Stiletto. A Ghast Stiletto is a +1 dagger wrapped in the still undead skin of a Ghast. While you wield the dagger, you gain a +1 status bonus to all saves against paralysis. So you can, once per hour, says the Ghast Stiletto afflicts the next living target struck by the dagger with a terrible wound that emits the foul stench of the grave. For the next minute, the target creature, as well as any creatures within a 10-foot emanation, must succeed at a 16 Fortitude DC save or become sickened 1 plus slowed 1, as long as it's sickened on a critical failure. While within the emanation, the creature takes a -2 circumstance penalty to saves against disease, and to recover from the sickened condition, creature that succeeds at its save is temporarily immune for 1 minute. So we have crafting. So I guess you could craft this. And it says the initial raw materials must include skin from a ghast. Okay. And here it says it's 60 gold pieces. That sounds a little cheap in my book. So the Madman says they might pick this up and convert some items for their Pathfinder for Savage Rules campaign, as it's lacking for magic items. So we have Alchemy Unleashed. It's got this artwork. What have you done? It's sort of like his look. All right. So here we've got alchemical ammunition. We've got bombs. We've got foods. We got tools, bottled monstrosities, elixirs, permanent alchemical items, and poisons. Yes. So we have different ammunition, foods, crackling bubble gum. This tangy gum cracks and pops in your mouth as you chew it. While you're chewing crackling bubble gum for up to 10 minutes, you have an item bonus to saving throws against auditory and sonic effects. And you have a secondary effect. You blow a bubble with the gum until it pops, after which it becomes inert. The pop deals sonic damage To all creatures in a 15-foot cone with a basic fortitude save. Creature that fails a save is also bound with sticky gum, taking a minus 10-foot item penalty to its speed for 1 minute. The creature can remove the gum with a total of 3 interact actions. These actions don't have to be consecutive, and other creatures can provide actions as well. So that is the crackling bubble gum. Christian says that goblin's smile is priceless. So Kevin points out, Pathfinder 2nd Edition is on a silver standard, so that gas stiletto is equivalent of 600 gold pieces in 3.5 or 5e. So wouldn't 600 gold in 5e be more valuable than 600 gold in 3.5? Because strangely enough, it seems like there isn't much gold in D&D Adventures anymore. It's almost as if there's no interest in dealing with it. Doug Roberts is rocking out. Good to see you, Doug. Thanks for swinging on in. Good to see you again. So we have our permanent alchemical items. Here we got some potions, catalysts. So this is momentary magic. Let's see what we've got here. We've got oils. Oil of skating. This thin, slippery oil shimmers with a golden hue. Coating your shoes or feet with oil of skating enables you to skate quickly along flat surfaces for 1 hour. You gain a plus 10-foot status bonus to your speed, which doubles if you move on a downhill surface. You lose this bonus if moving on difficult terrain, greater difficult terrain, or uneven ground. Also, you treat any uphill movement as moving on difficult terrain while your feet are oiled, and treat the results of any acrobatics checks made to balance as 1 degree worse. So Kevin says, possibly. Yeah, it's just when I'm reading through 5e releases for review, I noticed that it's like gold poor all the time. Because, you remember back, or maybe some folks don't, but back in the days of like advanced Dungeons and Dragons, I mean, once player characters got to a certain level, you were talking about, thousands upon thousands of gold pieces, especially since that played into your experience points. And now it's, you'll see an adventure, it's for like 7th level characters, and the NPC is offering them each 50 gold pieces. It's like, what? So Kevin says in 5e, PCs are supposed to not need magic items to keep up, so they don't have to give as much wealth per level. It is just kind of funny to see, the difference between the editions, where it's like, 100 gold pieces in 5e is, that's a pretty good deal. Whereas, if that was like AD&D, you'd be like, what? I don't roll out of bed for 100 gold pieces. So we have the Amulet of the Third Eye. This is a trapping of power. So let's see. Is it back here? Yes, here we go. This large brass medallion hangs low on the torso. It's shaped in the form of an unblinking eye with a ring of turquoise as the iris and an orb of jet serving as the pupil. The amulet grants you a +2 item bonus to perception checks. When you invest the amulet, you either increase your wisdom score by 2 or increase it to 18, whichever is higher. Ooh, that one's 15,000 gold pieces. Kevin says, yeah, 5e doesn't expect players to build strongholds either, like in the pre-3rd edition days. Yes, domain play. Okay, so we've got I need a sip here. We have grimoires. Let's see. Draxy's recipe book. This tiny recipe book was created by a famous Draxy chef, but it instantly resizes to fit the hand and eyes of the reader. While most of the pages are blank and ready to receive spells, the first 4 pages are taken up by a complex seasoning recipe that requires a casting of glitter dust. So, if your next action is to cast a glitter dust spell, all creatures within the spell's area who don't critically succeed at their save are covered with a spicy red powder. Any attempt to grab or grapple a creature affected in this way, or to swallow such creature whole, gains a +1 circumstance bonus to the attempt, or a +2 circumstance bonus if the attempt is made using a jaws or similar mouth-based attack due to the target's extra deliciousness and savory smell. An affected creature can remove the powder by thoroughly cleaning themselves, a process that typically takes about 10 minutes, or by completely immersing themselves in water. This ability can also be used to properly season up to 100 pounds of prepared food within the area of the glitter dust spell instantaneously. I just thought that was kind of funny. Their extra deliciousness. Horrid figurine. This looks like this is a fun book. This looks like some pretty interesting items. I happen to come from this school of, I always believe, like, special items, magic items, things like that, should be really unique. And a lot of times, I like them to have kind of a dual-edged sword vibe to them, so that, yes, something it does is very cool, but then it's also got a drawback. So one of my favorite magic items that I ran across in an adventure was a sword that would detect if someone was lying. But if you wore the sword, and of course the only way you would know is if you were wearing the sword, but if you wore the sword, then you couldn't lie. I thought that was pretty cool. I like that one. And the player characters find it. It's on a wall, and that because the sword it's intelligent. It can obviously communicate. And the sword says, "Help! I'm trapped." And it actually is trapped. There's a trap surrounding the sword. All right, so we got some wands. Wand of Contagious Frailty. Cracks and healed fractures spiderweb the shaft of this bone wand, worsening each time the wand is used. The bones worn... I can't even pronounce that. I don't even know what that is. Forms the wand's pommel, and black leather wraps around the handle. You can cast Ray of Enfeeblement. After you cast the spell, if the target is enfeebled, it releases a 10-foot emanation that doesn't include itself. Each creature in that area must attempt a fortitude save as if struck by the Ray of Enfeeblement, but gets an outcome 1 degree of success better than it rolled. All right. Batman says they're picturing Jim Carrey as a bard carrying that sword from Liar Liar. All right, so we got worn items. Some jewelry. Okay, then we get into secrets of crafting. So, new crafting rules. Some of the new options presented in this section can be used to enhance or adjust the core crafting rules, while others can serve as partial or complete replacements. Each of the individual subsections of this chapter represents a different way to adjust or modify how player characters interact with item creation and acquisition in the game world. It's recommended that you think carefully about which of these options you add to your game, adding only one subsection to your game at a time, at least until you've gotten a feel for the tone and impact they each have on your game and your players' enjoyment. The crafting alternate rules are best used as adjustments, while nature crafting and story-based crafting can speak to the nature of the game itself. So, looks like we have complex crafting, downtime events, myself personally, I would be more along the lines of story-based crafting. It's kind of how I would go about it. I don't necessarily need to have, a whole tale about, I don't need all these mechanics on how to craft items and things like that. That's just me. Keldon has joined us in chat. Good to see you, Keldon. So, I don't know. I mean, I know there are people out there who, they love to play like alchemists and stuff like that, and they want to be able to track every reagent and elixir and things like that they have to make items. So, I understand that, and I understand the appeal that it has for some folks. It's just not really my bag, that's all. So we've got our Game Master's Trove. So this is going to discuss some options that are targeted toward GMs more than players. So we have an artifacts section. So we've got some artifacts here. I think we've got like a new archetype, if I remember right. Oh, archetype artifacts. That was what I remember seeing. Cursed and intelligent items. And then we wrap up with relics as well. Then we're going to have our treasure tables. And then we'll have our glossary and our index. So we've got all our tables breaking everything down by type, what category they fall into, their price, and what page you'll be able to find those on. And then we've got our glossary and index. Anthony Good and Rapscallion J have stopped on by. Welcome to you both. All right, so that is Pathfinder Treasure Vault from Paizo Inc. Once again, this 224-page hardcover is available now. It carries an MSRP of $54.99, or you can grab the PDF for $19.99. Rapscallion J says they feel like a cursed item. They've been sick and in bed all day. Hopefully it's not COVID. My brother and my sister-in-law are both sick, but not COVID. They tested, so they're okay. All right, so of course, I will have a review of Pathfinder Treasure Vault in the very near future. So stay tuned. All right, that is it for this time out. On tomorrow's show, I am going to unbox and take a first look at Banish the Snakes from GMT Games. This is for 1 to 6 players, and each of the players takes on the role of a saint spreading Christianity throughout Ireland. This looks very interesting, very unique. So we're going to dive on into this on tomorrow's show. As for next week, I don't know yet, because there's supposed to be a bunch of stuff that's in transit right now. So I'll probably hold off on what next week is going to bring. But tomorrow, Banish the Snakes. All right. So, as I mentioned, that is it for this time out. If you like this video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, be sure to ding that bell, because it'll not only let you know when the Dispatch streams live Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday evenings right here on YouTube at 7 p.m. Central. It'll also let you know when I upload other original videos, such as my upcoming first look at Mirkberg icons, or I'm sorry, it's icon singular, not plural. So this is coming. Like I said, it'd be silly for us to do a live first look because it's just 4 little booklets in here for us to take a peek at. But I will have this in the very near future. Plus, I will have my second episode of the series where I'm building a completely open source fantasy role-playing game. So that will be up in the next few days as well. All right. If you watch live, thank you very much. If you watch live and took part in chat, much bigger tip of the cap to you, because not only are you keeping me company, you're also keeping each other company as well. But of course, I know not everybody has an opportunity to watch the stream live. Doesn't matter if you're watching live or on Memorex. I really do appreciate each and every one of you taking time out of your busy lives to watch any of the videos here on the Gaming Gang channel. Hope all of you enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time of day it is in your neck of the woods. And until I see you next month, I hope each and every one of you gets to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.
Oh, hey, you're still here. That's okay. You don't have to leave just yet. In fact, why don't you subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel right here, or take a peek at the latest live stream, or even find out what YouTube recommends you check out from the channel. And of course, I'm Jeff McAleer. Thanks again for watching.